Welcome to Nephew and Uncle Basketball Banter. I'm Ryan the Nephew, joined by my uncle David Scholler. And Uncle Dave, a series has wrapped up since we last had a podcast, and the New York Knicks have punched their way to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. So we have some Knicks fans who have almost in their 30s who have yet to see an NBA Finals appearance, and we have many who are middle-aged who have not seen an NBA championship from the Knicks. So definitely a nice moment. We're native New Yorkers here, so obviously we have to deal with all the Knicks fans and all their bells and whistles that they're ringing. Really, this series just comes down to game one, honestly. The other games are essentially a blur. And
After that, we said it was over.
Yeah, game three and game four, the Cavaliers at home just get absolutely whacked, and we'll get to that in a moment. But game one, up 22 points with 7 minutes left, and the lead whittled down to 5 points before Coach Kenny Atkinson called a timeout. Now, I know you as a coach, I know you're watching that, you're pulling your hair out and going grayer by the moment.
Watching 35 guys on your staff.
Watching that unfold. So
35 guys in your staff probably and making lots of money.
Just get into that, because I think, now I've never been a coach, but as a coach, when you have that lead with that amount of time, I think you're thinking to yourself, right? I know I would be. If I just play my cards right and coach good for this last 7 minutes, I'm going to win this game.
Yeah, well, the first thing you do is the Garden crowd isn't like any other crowd. The Garden actually shakes. I've been in it. The Garden actually moves up and down. It's an old arena. It shakes. And you get that crowd going. As soon as that thing was down to 16, I bang a timeout. And we talk about getting our best set next time down the floor. Now, you got 80 million guys on your bench. I'm sorry. This is where, and I'm a big fan of Coach Atkinson. Still did the best dribble lecture ever. But this was a rough series. He's God lucky they extended him. This was rough. Yeah. Post games were even bad. I mean, I just heard shit. I couldn't believe it.
Analytically, he said when they were down 2-0 that we're up 2-0.
Yeah, so now he's getting crushed to the internet. I've never seen so many memes about a basketball coach as I have in the last 48 hours, which is right. It's appropriate.
It is.
But you got to call timeout at 16 or 14 because the Garden started to rock. As soon as they cut to 13, I turned to your aunt and I said, this game's over. It's going the wrong way. You could feel it. And he didn't stop it again. And then you leave Harden out there to give up 11 straight when Harden can't guard me.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
Losing player.
We've talked about this on the show, that teams so many times they just surrender and switch right away rather than hedging, rather than sending a double team on the ball. Jalen Brunson, they were just headhunting hard, and they got him on that. They got that
Max Strus or Schroeder on him. You win that game by 10.
They get Harden on Brunson 5 times, and they get just 5 straight buckets.
And then look who else is on the floor with him. You got Wade on the floor with him. Wade can't cover either. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Where's Strus and Schroeder in that run? I mean, come on. I mean,
and then what do you make of Coach Atkinson? He says he likes to save his timeouts. I understand that, but it's
my God, you have to. There's a use it or lose it one at the 3-minute mark. If you have more than 2 timeouts at the 3-minute mark, you have no more than 2 timeouts. You lose them. I'm sure he's aware of that rule.
Well,
you cannot take more than 2 timeouts under 3 minutes. Please tell me they're aware of that rule with the 35 guys on the bench with matching outfits. Please. Somebody please tell me that they're aware of that. Please, I'm begging you.
It was definitely rough to watch. I mean, I definitely give the Knicks credit, but also on top of that, though, Donovan Mitchell in the last 7 minutes there, where is running a set for him? Where is he calling for the ball?
Today, it must have been that great soliloquy after the sweep that the bottom line is we have a good roster. No, you don't. You took away your 2 best defenders, Hunter and Garland, and now you have no roster.
Well, that's the other thing now. That trade
roster is awful.
That trade now looks absolutely horrific. And really, I don't think there's anything you can do to upgrade this team now. You're kind of stuck in limbo here, I think, with what you have.
Well, not only that, the East gets better next year. This is like the year that Jordan was out. You had to capitalize, and the Knicks have done that. But for the Cavs, you're done. If I was them, I wouldn't have kept Kenny, and I would have blown up the whole thing. I get rid of Spider. I get rid of all of it, and I keep Mobley and Allen, but they'll blame them, of course, because Mobley's the only positive in the series, and I would blow that thing up.
You know what? I don't think any Cavaliers fan would have been kicking and screaming at that either. And you've talked about this also on this show. Every loss is not the same. It's how you lose, too.
So how you lose can get you fired.
When the series is tied 0-0, now we don't know what would have happened if Cleveland wins that game, but when you're up 1-0, you go and you get the split. If you're the road team, all you have to do, you're playing with house money for game two. So if you win game two by some miracle, let's say, then you're in the driver's seat completely, and they're essentially on the mat. But let's say that doesn't happen and it's a split. Then you win game three. Now you're halfway home and you're up 2-1. That's something that we'll never know.
Well, the bottom line is, too, you're not morally defeated. So when you lose game one in that method and you have doubt in your head anyway, which that team, you could see by their body language, they had doubt.
Right.
And Charles Barkley was absolutely right both nights. And Kenny Smith is always, being a chicken shit to say anything. Charles Barkley put up the definition of quit. It was a definition in the dictionary, said Cavaliers, he said. So they did quit last night, and they still re-signed him. So it was weird, but it was just awful. Just awful to watch. But you know what? The Knicks took advantage of this bad conference right now. The Knicks are playing great, but the competition has not been great. And that's all you can do is beat who's in front of you.
And it's not just the game one debacle and unraveling. It's at home. You still have a chance to hold the fort and maybe even up the series. You got 2 games at home. And 3 and 4, they're just no-shows completely. So that's another reason
last night
Atkinson would be fired. I didn't just think just from the game one. I'm like, let's see how they look at home, and maybe they can rattle off.
Well, last night, the worst play that started the run for the Knicks was Harden takes a shot about 2 feet inside the 3-point line, and he's the guy back for court balance, and he creeps in on the offensive rebound and doesn't even get close to it. So he creeps into like the elbow area, and they throw it out to Hart. Then they get another 2. They got another 2 baskets in transition within a minute. Disgusting. I mean, like, you just gave up 26 transition points in the first half. Now, the Knicks are shooting the hell out of it. They're on a historic roll. No one's ever outscored their opponents in 11 games by 262 points in regular season or postseason in the history of the NBA. So Knicks have done that. So you got to give them credit. They're hitting shots that Bridges hit a tough couple of shots. Brunson shots have been tough. They've hit tough shots, but it's just no physical presence. The only positive was Mobley taking people off the dribble.
Very much anticipated in this finals matchup is that I think the level is going to go up tremendously, whether it is the Spurs or the Thunder, as far as the defensive intensity goes against the Knicks offense. That'll be definitely much anticipated. But just some things, you look at the Knicks, though, what's just incredible. Like someone like Landry Shamet, Uncle Dave, for the series went 12 of 13 from 3. I mean, just ridiculous type of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, him and McBride hitting timely shots. The thing is, they're doing what Doc Rivers talked about, one of his best quotes ever. Be an all-star in your role. And for someone like Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns to have not even average 3 turnovers a game, that right there for the series, that is incredible with their usage rate. So the fact that they're taking care of the ball and they're shooting as efficiently as they are, when you do that, you're going to win. I mean, things like Mikal Bridges averaging 19 points for the series and Josh Hart averaging 14. If they do that, if they get contribution offensively from those guys who, let's be honest, the reason that they're on the team and their primary focus is defensively, but when they're scoring like that and they're shooting 45% and then 57%, there's really no stopping this group then at that point when you have those guys chipping in like that.
When you shoot we always talk about shooting is the great equalizer. That's the key. If shooting is the great equalizer, that makes it a big difference. I mean, like when you're hitting shots, it covers up a lot. But the Knicks didn't have anything to cover up. They forced Houston into 17 turnovers, Cleveland into 17 turnovers a game. The Knicks turned it over themselves a bunch, but they played fast, so it's a little different. But for them to shoot 38% from 3 for the series, I mean, it felt like worse than that. It just did. They had 10 steals a game, 28 assists a game, 40, just ridiculous. Shooting 50.9% for the series is filthy. So, I mean, it's just they're hitting their twos. They're doing everything. They won the battle of the board by 10. I mean, everything. And I thought that Cleveland had a chance on the board between Allen and Mobley, but they didn't.
There's just some things that just jump out off the screen at you. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns shot 50% from 3 and 55% overall. You just have some numbers that are just absolutely staggering.
Oh, look at, like I said, Mikal Bridges, like you said, 57%. Josh Hart, who's their worst shooter, 45%. Landry Shamet, like you already mentioned, Richard Robinson, doing a good job. I mean, the one crack that I think that they can take advantage of, no matter who they play in the next round, I don't think those next 2 teams, even though San Antonio, OKC has been a physical series, I don't think they're physical teams, if that makes sense. They don't have those thick bodies. This whole series is a bunch of guys built like Ichabod Crane, the skinny guy from the little novel
No,
that
I
you're reading
think they
each
have the
time.
matchup in that standpoint, from the physicality standpoint, the Knicks, honestly, with Towns and
Because
Robinson.
Robinson can make a difference. On Anunoby's built. I mean, Lou Dort is physical. We know that. But I mean, obviously Castle is physical, but he's still a young kid. Uh, Obviously Robinson and Cat is physical. Maybe maybe the big guy from OKC can get it done. He's tough and physical. The guy that we talked about who needed to play more than 12 minutes in the first game, which he did. And basically, Hartenstein has done a great job. Maybe he could be physical, but I just see that's the one avenue I think that they can make some hay no matter who they play.
Just got to just touch back on another thing, Uncle Dave. We have James Harden, the press conference after the game,
Oh,
saying he thinks that they're still the better team. He got swept 4-0.
yeah, not like you. It's not like the '83 Lakers either, where you were winning in the fourth quarter in all four games and lost to the
Right.
Sixers. You got blown, historically blown. I mean, like this was an historic ass kicking. If you look at these numbers, they averaged a 19-point loss for the series. That's a disgrace. So after the first three quarters of the series, they were outscored by 99 points over the last 13 quarters. That's a disgrace. That's like 12 points a quarter you're losing, 13 points a quarter. It's awful. A disgraceful performance, no matter how you do it. Schroeder didn't play last night. Something's going on
Well,
there.
we talked about a little bit on our
Yep.
text message. I said that little things like him posting after every loss on social media, on Instagram, talking about the series 0-1, 0-2, 0-3. And there
Yep.
was also earlier in the series, there was in between the timeouts, they could show sometimes the coaches and the players walking over there, and him and Kenny Atkinson were yelling at each other. So I think there's something there. But again, though, you've had those kind of relationships with players where it's a little bit of like a
Yep.
pull and a tug. So I don't know, is that just how the
But
relationship is, or is there anything
Schroeder's a
more?
dog, though. Schroeder will
Yeah,
fight for you, though. So you
yeah.
got to harness him.
But to not check him in at all yesterday, there has to be something going on there.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
so
bigger.
they'll kick him to the curb. But, people always give coaches credit for going back and forth with their players as long as it's not disrespectful. But Schroeder will fight for you. So that's why you have to get something out of him because he's not soft. If James Harden is mouthing off to me, I'm going to sit his ass down because he's not a dog.
Right.
Schroeder will fight to the death. He's
Yeah.
not a perfect player. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer like James Harden. But in the trenches, I'd rather have Schroeder in a tough environment than Harden any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Well, plus he won them a game into the Detroit series.
He did. Schroeder's tough. Like he's you watch, he'll go to some other team. That's why I was surprised the Lakers a couple of years ago let him go. Like he'll go to another team and he'll help somebody win. If you're close, he'll go and fight for you off the bench. He'll do it.
Right. Right. Yeah, it'll be someone like Drew Holiday with the Milwaukee Bucks type of situation
Sure.
and help
Sure.
them.
And here's the thing. You look at this other stat here too. Cleveland shoots 28% from three for the series. But this wasn't just a make it, take it series. This was just pathetic. It was pathetic. I've never seen a worse performance. Everybody's had one game or two in a series. You remember the famous blowouts of all time. But this is disgusting. I've seen a lot of sweeps in my life. This one is one of the worst I've ever seen, if not the worst I've ever seen. It's a disgrace.
Isn't it
The only
similar?
category they won
Isn't it similar to like when in 1995 with the Orlando Magic and the Houston Rockets, where Orlando has control of the game and they let it slip away, and Kenny Smith hits a three to tie the game, and Nick Anderson's four missed free throws, and that kind of just took the life out of them, and Houston just basically holds on them the rest of the series. I mean, that's pretty much almost what happens here, right?
Yeah, but those games were a lot closer than these games. I mean, this was just a disgrace. First of all, in the mid-'90s, no one's scoring as much as they are today. So those games, weren't blowouts like it is today. Kenny went on to shoot the ball really well. Orlando was very young back then. And I've always said
this team has way more experience. So that is
30 on them. Failed to mention one thing that team was soft. They did get swept by the 96 Bulls. The Bulls checked out. They checked out against the Bulls. They just didn't offer any resistance. That team had some softness in them. I like Penny Hardaway, but there was some softness there. Horace Grant, good player, but there was some softness there too. That team was not tough enough. And that's what that 30 for 30, the Magic Kingdom, whatever the hell it's called, was not totally honest. That team was soft. Did not offer. When you get swept a lot, that's a problem. There's something going on there.
So the Knicks, Uncle Dave, they join now. They're one of 5 teams now to win 11 straight postseason games. So you have this year's 2026 New York Knicks, the 2017 Golden State Warriors, the
Yep.
2001 Los Angeles Lakers, the 99 San Antonio Spurs, and the 1999 Los Angeles Lakers. And the only team not to win a championship from that group, we talked about it a few shows ago, is that 1989 Laker team where
Yeah,
Magic
well, that's
Johnson, like you
Magic gets
said,
hurt in game 2. He pulls a
right.
hamstring after Byron Scott
And you're
misses the whole
convinced that that
series.
doesn't happen, that the Lakers might have won that one.
No, they're not getting swept because
Yeah.
they're up in game 2 and Magic pulls a hamstring and they were missing Byron Scott. So, like, Magic doesn't pull a hamstring. They're winning a game or two because Magic's playing. But the bottom line is that 82, I think the 82 Lakers won 11 in a row also. Am I right?
No,
Or it
just
doesn't.
no. This is being reported now. I mean, they might have won close to that, but 11 in a row. Those are the only
Okay,
teams
11
that
in a
won
row. Yeah,
11 in
because
a row.
that was a really nice team too. But the bottom line is the Knicks are doing a great job. I just think that whoever they play, the first quarter when they get out there, they're going to realize it's a totally different animal.
Yeah, well, I
Because
think that's gonna happen.
both these teams are going to guard. The only thing in the Knicks' favor is the Knicks. I don't think you're turning Brunson over. Now, who's the backup point guard when Brunson isn't running it? Because they can turn you over there. That's one of the problems I think that OKC is going to have tonight with no Mitchell. Who's the backup point guard? Because they'll turn you over because they're letting Castle like grab SGA. I mean, people are talking about his flopping, but they're also letting a lot of grabbing going on. So bottom line is I'm really proud in one sense. The NBA defense is awful these days, but in these playoffs, you've seen adjustments that we haven't seen in many years. So we have people picking up full court because teams now will have anybody, their best player, just bring up the ball. And teams have said, you know what? No, we're going to dog you all the way up the court with your best player. So now you got to hand it off to your point guard. And we've talked about this lack of point guards. I've never seen less point guards in the NBA right now than ever in my lifetime. And you're seeing the results. So SGA, who's playing point tonight when he goes out? Who's playing point when Brunson goes out? This is a problem. It's a real thing. So yeah, you could throw it to you could throw it to you could throw it to Hart, you could throw it to Anunoby, but if you got Castle guarding him or Fox, that's going to be cookies. And the same situation could happen to the Knicks. Or the Knicks could do the same thing. You're going to take out, say Shea comes out of the game. I mean, you get Hart or Anunoby or Bridges on their backup point guard. If it's not Mitchell, that's cookies too. So we got a tough situation here.
Well, yeah, you're going to see the battles of the coaches, right? With the chess moves they're going to have to
And
make.
you're seeing a lot of guys picking up full, which I really like. I've said this to you for years. If you take away 6 or 7 seconds off that shot clock, it's awesome.
Now you're down. Now you're down to 17, 18 seconds.
Exactly. And if you're taking it out of the guard's hands, and like I said, I'm very proud of like the NBA coaches mixing it up because for the last 10 years in the LeBron, Steph, KD era, all we do is drop coverage. We never had an original thought. It was disgusting.
I think that's also part of the reason why we're seeing 10-man rotations now.
Yep, you can play harder.
Yeah, exactly. You need to go a little deeper in your bench now in order to play that way.
Well, I will say, like we discussed this yesterday, and I bring this up with the Knicks too, and I'm not trying to be insulting. I did send you that video of all the people criticizing the Jalen Brunson contract. Did you get it?
Yes, I did get it, yeah.
Yeah, pretty funny, right?
It was.
So the bottom line is his contract is up this year. No one's talked about that. But anyway, it's his 4-year deal. 23, 24, 25, 26. Is he up?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I haven't heard any talks about that, but I'm guessing
exactly.
Yeah,
4 years, 110 million, right? You got 4 years for 110 million. So I think he's done. But anyway, bottom line is the Knicks are one of the deepest teams I've ever seen, but so is OKC. But I also said the other day, very few teams win an NBA championship without an immortal. Now, Brunson is a great player. I don't consider him an immortal. That's just me. He's not Dirk. He's not Mike. He's not Kobe. He's not Shaq. He's not, KD. He's not LeBron. Very few teams do it. And we talked about, there's a couple of teams that did it.
We talked about,
obviously,
04 Pistons.
04 Pistons, very good team, very good players. We also talked about somebody else did it too.
We said they were immortal at one point, these guys, but at that point in their career, were they consider that the 08 Celtics?
Right. Yeah. KG, I do consider an immortal.
They were steps slower, those guys, at that point.
Yes, they were. And Pierce and Allen are certainly close. So, yeah, so this is interesting because it's hard to win an NBA title. You could say the same for, the Supersonics back at 79. But it's very hard to do that without one of those all-time greats. And we've talked about this. I was just thinking about that the other day while I was driving. Why I'm thinking about that while I'm driving, I was just thinking to myself, their best player is Brunson, obviously. Most talented is obviously Towns. But you sit there and you say to yourself, it's hard. It's really hard. But, you you can win with a really good gang of players, and this Knicks team is very deep.
I was talking about it to Uncle Carl. It's very similar, this team, to the 70s Knicks teams. You have
Yep.
Brunson, who's there, Frazier, and you
Yep.
have now Karl-Anthony Towns, it's there, Willis Reed. And you just have a bunch of really solid role players that are in that C plus to B minus category that are just doing really good work for you right now. So it's very similar in almost the ways that they're winning now.
Well, I think that Shaq has not talked about something that he should, because he always brings up the others. The two big others for the Knicks are Bridges and Hart.
Bridges and Hart, when those guys are efficient offensively for
Oh
them,
my
they're
God.
totally
When
different.
they're playing well, when those two guys play well, you're not beating this team. Plus,
No.
they're both A-plus defenders. So this is that Knick advantage. You got three wings who can cover. So this is going to be interesting. This might go back to like Miami Heat Knicks scores in the 90s here. This could be like first.
Well, if you're a Knicks fan,
wins.
you're just praying that these guys ride the hot hand all the way. That's what you're hoping is going to
Yeah.
happen. Because
I
when
do
they
think-
struggled against Atlanta, you look at the box scores, Hart and Bridges are absolutely nowhere. They're absent from the games.
Right. I do think, though, the Knicks in the first game will struggle because they'll have rust. They're not playing until, I think, June 3rd.
Yeah. Yep.
I do
You got a
think
week.
they'll be rust.
And this is the NBA Finals, so everything's on the line, and you're facing a better opponent. So it's going to be
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
real
this
test. Real test for them, for sure.
I think they'll be in for some shock treatment. I really do. I think that there's going to be some shock treatment there, because
especially if you get the Thunder. Well, Dan Patrick had Reggie Miller on his show today, and Patrick asked him, if you're the Knicks, who are you hoping for? And Reggie Miller basically said it doesn't matter. Well, I think it actually does a little bit. I think if I'm the Knicks, I'd rather honestly have the Spurs, because the Thunder, you have that championship experience already. They know what it takes.
right, and you know the Spurs are going to give you that this is too big a moment lemon eventually. But I wouldn't want the Spurs for a different reason, Elgis. And I love Cat. You're going to have him pull Wemby away from the basket. And is he going to make all those shots? And Cat, as we know, he's been great this year, but he'll still have those moments where he's arguing about a call 10 feet behind the play.
Well, the Knick haters right now and the doubters, they're hoping, when is this shoe going to fall now between the efficiency from Bridges, Hart, and Towns? When does that go away? Because right now, if they play like how they're playing, they're right in that sweet spot right there. Brunson gets his 26 and 8 assists. If they continue doing that for the whole series, I think it's really going to be hard to beat them, I think.
Right. I think so, too. The only thing is,
when Brunson's closer to trying to get 40, that's, I think, when they're very beatable.
Yeah, I just worry about Towns on Wemby matchup, because I think Cat can be hard on himself. And let's face it, Wemby can make you feel hard on yourself, because he's just
it's just so frustrating, because basically whatever matchup he has, he's neutralizing you practically.
Right. So, but the thing is, if Karl-Anthony Towns can make him be covered, you're going to have to take the Robinson matchup with Towns on the floor at the same time off the floor, because then Wemby's just going to cover Robinson, and that would be a problem. So I think the Knicks can get over physically. This is not a strong physical team, the Spurs. Wemby is a great shot blocker, but this is not a physical group. That's why I thought that the Wolves bothered them a little bit. You know, like the Wolves gave them some physical shit. The Wolves are strong and physical. That can bother this team. This team is very young. Fox is a skinny guy. I mean, where's their beef? They have no beef on the whole roster. I mean, maybe Barnes, because he's older, is stronger, but he's not a physical guy either. That's the one weakness in this team, and the Thunder have the same problem. Besides Hartenstein and Lou Dort, Chet is like a blow away in the wind. So
Alex Cruz is a physical player. The thing is interesting is you have multiple bodies that you could rotate on Brunson that can cover him. That can do a pretty good job,
if Mitchell and J-Dub are not healthy, I'd rather play the Thunder if I'm the Knicks. And people are so unfair about this. So
that's a great point. The injuries with Mitchell and Williams.
New York is so New York phobic, or so ethnocentric. A little social studies word there from 9th grade. But the thing is, like, if you're missing your second best scorer, and J-Dub is, everybody would be complaining about that. You haven't heard a word from the Thunder.
No, you don't.
And that's why tonight I worry about them. I really do.
Because they've played so much without him now at this point. They've had him basically.
How are they getting points? And now they don't have Mitchell, who was their second leading scorer in his absence, but now Mitchell's out. So what are you doing tonight? Like, you're going to have to get your points tonight.
You're going to have a Herculean effort from SGA, and Caruso's going to have another game like he had.
The other J-Dub shot the hell out of it in game 3.
Williams, yeah, he did. Yes, he did.
Now you're going to need him to step up.
Right.
You're going to need him to step up. If you don't, and him and Caruso got to step up, and Chet has got to just show up and give you 10 and 10.
Yeah, he
Chet's got to
does.
give you 10 and 10. Got to do something. I mean, Jesus God.
Well, that's the one thing that you might hold your hat on, that he might produce more for you tonight, because going in you're shorthanded, so he's going to get more opportunity and more looks.
Well, I guess J Dub is a game's decision. I'm hearing. I have no idea, but the other guy's out. Mitchell's out. But I mean, Jesus, this is crazy shit. I mean, like you're missing J Dub and Mitchell, so you're missing really your second and your third leading scorers. This is
Yeah,
rough.
it's
I mean,
it's not good, right?
yeah. I mean, the stat that I think will really bother the Knicks is that the Spurs are averaging 7 blocks a game. Now we know why that is. If you could have Cat make those shots, you could pull him away. But you can't go the two big lineup if you're the Knicks then, because then I'm not guarding Cat. I'm going to guard Robinson.
Well, what do the Knicks do with that now? Because, like you said, if you check Robinson into the game and Luke Cornett's not in there and Wembanyama's in there, Wembanyama's basically playing free safety. He's not going to go anywhere near Robinson.
Exactly. And that's why you got to keep Cat out of foul trouble.
Yeah, I mean,
Gotta keep Cat out of foul
if
trouble.
it's the Knicks and the Spurs, honestly, the series might come down to Karl Anthony Towns' foul trouble situation.
Yeah,
But I guess you're going to have guys like Cason Wallace and Isaiah Joe really step up tonight. But it's gonna
yeah,
be
wow. Yeah.
that's gonna be so tough. My goodness. The one thing is the Thunder are at home, so maybe you have that
You
home
got to hope. But if
carry you home.
this is both these teams are not shooting it well from three in the series. Well, if you look at it, one's shooting 35% from three, which isn't terrible, and the other one's shooting 33%. But my point is, I thought the Spurs were in trouble because it didn't look like Harper and Fox were healthy in game 3. And then in game 4, they looked like they took some like youth serum or something. I
Right.
don't know what the hell. How do you
Right.
get off a hip pointer and a bad ankle that quick?
Well, you know what?
The,
These medical staffs can work miracles.
especially if the Fox sat out with a bad ankle. So he hits it up
Right.
again, which lets me know he could have played before.
Right.
So this is just wild situation here. Field goal percentages, neither team is really shooting well for the year. 42 for the series, and the other one's 43. I just think that if you could turn the water off on Hart Bridges, I think the Knicks can struggle. But if the current status of health stays the way it is, I'm rooting for the Thunder if I'm the Knicks, because no Mitchell, no J Dub. And we've seen guys before just go, nah, I'm not going to push myself, even though it's the finals. We've seen it.
The one great thing with the Knicks too getting that sweep is now Anunoby, you can heal that hamstring now a little more. So that's
his has not recurred.
No, it has not.
His has not come back, which lets you know something's up. J Dub, we thought was better, but then he strained it again.
Or besides OG Anunoby, the Knicks, who had gotten basically the injury bug bit the hell out of them year in, year out for the last few years, now they're eerily healthy now. So they're just hoping that these two teams just knock the hell out of each other, and you have a situation where you jump on their ass maybe game 1 because they battle 7 games.
I will say, though, that whoever covers Jalen Brunson, they're going to shut the water off on him. Like he can get Steph Castle up in the air and get him in foul trouble. But if it's Fox who's covering him, that's going to be interesting, because they're going to make someone else beat him. And that's where it's going to be Bridges and Hart. OG is a given. He's going to play well.
Yeah. You know, you can pencil him in to basically give you his average.
He's going to give you 15 to 16.
Right.
He's going to play great defense.
He's going to be efficient. Yep.
He's a stud. Bottom line is it's up to the other two. And, if Shamet, keeps coming off the bench and shooting like that.
Oh, Jesus.
And, Deuce, I mean, forget it. Shamet is, from Wichita State, has looked great. And Alvarado, I think, could be important in this series as the
Well, you
backup.
talked about you need a primary ball handler maybe besides Brunson when he comes out.
I think Alvarado's got to be the guy.
Because these two teams, like you said, they're going to pick up and they're elite defensively. So you can't do maybe, just point guard by proxy here. You have to have
you can't have Hart bringing the ball up the court. If they want to shut you off with Hart bringing it up, they're going to. So this game tonight, I think it's going to be my favorite game of the playoffs. It's so important. I guess it might be ugly, but I'm looking forward to it. But the Knicks are going to have June 3rd is a long way off. So this is going to be. And
the Knicks have proven that they can play in game 1s off the rest, because they've done it now. The last 2 series, they've had those long waits, and they've been able to come in and win.
Although their shooting was atrocious in game 1, and if you do that with one of these two teams,
you won't win that. Yeah, you won't win that.
There's no James Harden on these two teams.
Well, how about that? Well, let's just revisit that for a second. In the beginning, of the halfway through the second half in the third quarter, the Garden was as quiet as I've ever heard.
I've never heard it. Yeah, it was like a Westminster dog show.
Yeah, exactly. It was like eerily quiet. The Masters or a dog show. It was like
it was nothing. Nothing
going
on.
Silent. And the funny thing is about that game 1, we talked about it when you came over here for Memorial Day. If you outplay the Knicks for another minute and a half, 2 minutes at that point,
The game's over.
they're taking the starters out.
Yep.
That's how close Cleveland was to really just wrapping that thing up. And instead, like you said, they get a few buckets, the crowd gets into it, and you don't call
Yep.
timeout. This thing just is a snowball.
Plus, the Knicks banked a shot. They hit one off the top of the rim. It went in like that happened the
Right,
last year.
Mikal Bridges hit a fadeaway. You just have some crazy shots go in, and then all of a sudden it's a ball game. And really, it's not a ball game at that point. Once they get it to 5 after Brunson hits the step back 3 and hard, and you're like, this thing is done, even though they're down 5.
But then the Cavs talking like then Kenny in the press conference, first of many bad.
Proud of your team. Proud of your team.
Says we're unlucky.
Oh my goodness. You can't say that when you're up 22 with 7 minutes left. I don't care what the hell happens. You got to win that game.
Yeah, you do. You can't say you're unlucky. I mean, yeah, they asked in a shot, but Jesus Christ, you took quick shots. You missed free throws. You let Brunson get 11 straight. You didn't switch a matchup, and you didn't call timeout. That's not luck. You slept.
So what do you do, Uncle Dave, if you're Cleveland? Let's just talk about them for their offseason. What do you think their course of action should be? Is this a situation where you're just praying LeBron James comes back and you're able to maybe keep a majority of what you have and then go with that for next season? Or do you, like you said, Coach Atkinson's coming back, they're bringing him back, so we know that answer. But as far as Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, now the funny thing is on this, you have now two guys who are basically in the same boat as guys who are very talented players, and James Harden is an all-time great, essentially, that they're not able to get over the hump in the postseason.
Clear yourself away from Harden, but we're going to see. He might be a guy that decides to sign in for his extension. But I don't know. I don't know. If I got to get away from Harden, unless LeBron's willing to play the 4, you can't bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you should touch Allen and Mobley, but they're good soldiers. They'll be the guys that are blamed. I would get rid of Harden in a heartbeat. If I could get LeBron to come back and play some 4, I'd do it. But you got to get a point guard. None of this crap where you have a point guard who's a scorer first. You gave away Garland, who could defend and play point. Last year, Garland was hurt. Well, you could have beat the Pacers. But they had no patience with this team. They broke it up in the middle of the year. They were still in the playoff hunt. They were still going to make the playoffs. But then they decided to play fantasy basketball. And we said it wouldn't work. If you go back and play the tape, I told you it wasn't going to work. This guy's not a playoff guy. He's a coach killer. Plus, he's a guy who killed that particular coach before. This is not a good situation. So the thing is, why would you go make that trade? And you let go of Hunter to Sacramento. I know you got Schroeder back, but how do you let go of Hunter? Hunter's one of the most versatile players in the freaking league. He's 6'9", can guard, can shoot a little bit. You took away 2 good defenders.
We saw the movie put on Josh Giddey, in and out crossover, made him fall and then dunked. I mean, you don't see too many guys doing that.
So you just gotta. These GMs are so poor.
But Uncle Dave, what scenario do you give up 2 guys that are 10 years younger than James Harden, and they're both in their prime and ascending? You don't give up 2 guys like that.
It's like we always say: are you gonna get a guy for what he's going to do, or are you going to get a guy for what he did?
Right, exactly. It's a great
guy for what he did, you're going to lose. That's why you got to hold on to Mobley. The only bright spot in that series is I watched Mobley do things in this series that he's never done before. Finally, he got aggressive. And so you know what? You got to hold on to him. He's about to hit his peak.
He was also a guy when the Knicks got it down to 5. He hit a huge 3 to get the lead back up to 8 again off a catch.
Or
a wing.
You try to get Mobley for Giannis.
Yeah, you try to then just go even further.
Milwaukee would do that. Milwaukee would do that in a heart. Milwaukee would drive him there.
Right.
I wouldn't do it if I was Cleveland because I don't like what I heard about Giannis this year. Because then you're going to have Harden and Giannis. It's just going to be like it's going to be one of those bad all-star teams like the Lakers put together those 2 different times they did it with
2012 with
Nash and those guys was awful.
Yeah, Dwight Howard.
Is like those teams don't work, and so I would. If I don't know if LeBron wants to go back there. I think LeBron wants to go somewhere where he has a chance to win. If I'm LeBron, I don't go there. I go. Maybe I go to a team where I have a chance to win. The problem
we talked about a good fit for him might be Golden State. You go with Curry and
it's just that you don't really have a chance to win there either because the 2 teams playing tonight, I think, unless we're going to get a bad ankle somewhere, or the 2 teams next year too that'll be favorites. I think you got to go somewhere where you have a chance, like we said. But where is that? You want to go play in Boston and play power forward? Boston's a little small. Play 4. LeBron played the 4. He could kill people because the bottom line is he could square him up and go around him still.
Well, that role that Coach Redick had him in, that high post role, that you've been begging him for a decade to be in finally.
Yeah.
He
So
went to
just
it.
like, and then defensively, I think he might be able to hold his own on that 4. So
Yeah,
if you
absolutely.
want him to
Yeah.
go play the 4, you have to have a talk with him about it, obviously, because he's LeBron James. But I think if you're willing to do that, I think he'd be a great pickup for anybody. But, I
Right.
want to see him go somewhere where he's going to have a chance to win. I don't want to see him,
Yeah.
be banished to some
Well,
place that
he's
sucks.
only gonna he's smart enough. He's only gonna go somewhere where he does have a chance to win. I think if he's gonna leave the
Yeah,
Lakers.
and is he
Otherwise,
going
he's
to
gonna
take
stay
less
there.
money? Yeah, if
Yeah.
you're going to wait for him to take 50 million next year, you can't do it. I can't
No.
pay LeBron 50 million next year. I
No.
can't
No.
do
No.
it.
No. No way. If it's LeBron of 10 years ago, I'm doing it in a
James
heartbeat.
Harden has to be banished. It's got to go, and you got to get a point guard. There's such a shortage of point guards right now. We've seen this before.
Well, like you said, there's too much of this. We're trying to masquerade a two guard as a one, and it just
It's
doesn't
great
work
until
in
someone
crunch
puts
time.
you up full.
In the regular season, you can get away with that. Once the
Oh yeah,
defense tightens up in the postseason, it's just different. It's not the same then at that point anymore.
like I said, I'm happy to see that coaches this year, for the first time in a 10 to 15 year period, just didn't play crap ass underneath man with no pressure. They're finally saying to people, "Hey, we're going to take advantage of every weakness you have. You don't have a good backup point, we're coming to get you." And right now, not every team even has a good starting point guard. So
Hmm.
I don't know. Like maybe LeBron. A lot of people talking about, maybe LeBron goes to the Mavs.
If you want to maybe mentor a young player and do that, but I think he would
Yeah,
have to have someone coming with him. I think
sure.
besides just himself, I think he would want to have someone alongside him. And then you have a situation where it's kind of like what Cleveland did in 2015. You had a young Kyrie Irving, and then LeBron came with Kevin Love, and you saw how that worked out. It worked out
Sure.
great. But
Yeah,
yeah,
talented team. So, but
maybe
you
you're
need
able to
like,
do something like that.
yeah, I just want to see him go somewhere where he has a chance to win. That's what I want. But that's just me. I don't. I just want to see him have a chance to, get a chance to get another ring.
But it's funny, we have a situation here. I saw this post. A Cleveland bakery owner claims Charles Oakley told him LeBron James is 95% coming back to Cleveland after meeting with Maverick Carter.
Yeah, he was on NBA radio this morning, and he was talking about that.
So I don't know how credible this baker is in Cleveland, but so that's what he says.
That'll be nice to see. That'd be nice full circle. But again, it has to be the right situation. Can you imagine if you keep James Harden and LeBron? Who are you covering? Unless LeBron's playing the 4, and right now Allen and Mobley do that, you can't do it. You got to get rid
You
of. If you
can't
want
have
to get,
two guys out there that are not great, that are not good
yeah, if
defenders.
you want to
You
get
can't
rid of
do it.
Harden, I'll listen to it. But again, Spider doesn't cover that well either. So you need a point guard. You got to get some players around. Strus can stay. Schroeder's obviously going to be out of there, but you got to go get a point guard. You got to go do it.
Just wanted to also highlight this, Uncle Dave, about the Knicks. Guys that they have on their current team right now, or that are playing productive minutes for them right now, were guys that they drafted. All of them have either been signed free agency or traded for.
That's why this works, though, because they're all guys who have been underestimated their whole life, and there's a hunger there. Besides Cat, the rest of these guys are not pedigrees. They weren't guys that were blown as the first pick in the draft, guys that were the second pick in the draft, guys that were
Yeah.
thought to be the crap. Like this, that's why they're hungry. I think that's why it works.
And also another fun stat we have, Uncle Dave. Big names to leave the Timberwolves and win a title within 2 years.
Yeah.
Kevin Garnett, he left the Timberwolves, and in 2 years he won a championship with the Celtics. Kevin Love is another one.
Yeah.
2014 from the Timberwolves and one with the Cavaliers in 2016. Andrew Wiggins is
Yeah.
another one. Left the Timberwolves in 2020 and one with the Golden State Warriors in 2022. So now Knicks
Yeah.
fans are hoping this trend continues and Karl Anthony Towns is the next Timberwolves to leave the Timberwolves and win a championship.
Is this Cat's second year with us?
Yeah, but to answer your question, yes, this is Karl Anthony Towns' full second year with the Knicks.
So that'll be a second year. It's crazy because he's a guy that last year made such progress in his first playoff year, but of course the Knicks fans made him the whipping guy. But
I think you could say that trade now has worked out completely for the Knicks' benefit. Not saying that it's failed for the Wolves, but
it's worked. It's worked for both teams. Randall and DiVincenzo have been good for the Wolves, but the Wolves got more of what they already had a problem with. They have guys that weren't scoring offensively enough. DiVincenzo is an inconsistent scorer, and Randall is very limited. He's 15 feet in. So they went out and added about 4 more of what they got.
So for tonight's game, Uncle Dave, we'll wrap this up in a few moments here so we can watch. But I think it just comes down to Wembanyama being able to just establish himself inside. If you're the Thunder, you live with him shooting jump shots all day, no?
Sure. I mean, I've been saying it all year, but the bottom line is I just really think it comes down to who else is scoring. Because the other day the water was shut off, and you don't have Mitchell and J-Dub, and that's your second and third leading score. on the year. So
And
you're
Jalen
gonna get,
Williams is so talented too, as a two-way
yeah,
player too. Oh
yeah.
my
And
goodness.
you're gonna get it from the other J Dub. You're gonna get it from Caruso. Is Chet gonna show up? Can Chet give you 15? If Chet can give you 15, you could win this game. But is Chet gonna do that? I mean, he has not been good in this series. I mean, let's be honest. What is Chet doing in this series? Yeah, let's look it up here. Chet's shooting 46%, which isn't terrible. He's getting 11 points a game. I'm shocked by that. It doesn't even feel like he's done that. He's getting 6 boards and 11 points. And that's,
Between his lob catching and his ability to shoot from the outside, I need more than 11 from him. I need him closer to like 18, 19.
Sure. I mean, like, you got to get something out of him. And, Dort's got to give you something. Dort hasn't made a jump shot in a month.
Yes, and then you need someone like Jared McCain to bump it up a little bit as well. He's cooled off a little bit in this series as well.
Yeah.
But certainly a capable guy, though, for sure. And then we'll wrap it up, Uncle Dave. James Harden now, as far as his legacy goes, he's an all-time great talent and offensive one-on-one player, but he's always going to be the but and the what-if guy, though, I think.
He's an enigma. He's the enigma. He's not a guy that, like, he's not a winning player. He's a guy that was great at getting his own shit, but he's never done anything else.
And I talked about it. I messaged you, too. I said, no more of this talk about him being a better player than Dwayne Wade. I think we could put that.
Oh, my God. How can anybody say that? Did anybody see the 2006 NBA Finals?
I know.
He averaged like
would never
40
have
in
done
the
that.
freaking series. Just plus Dwayne Wade's one of the 10 most talented players of all time. I'm not saying he's one of the 10 best. I'm talking about talent. There's nothing he couldn't do.
Right.
Like, he was just so naturally talented. Like, his pivot was just insane.
Right.
He was one of the first guards I've ever seen pivot like that. Man, what the hell was that?
Plus, his ability to play the passing lane and block shots as a guard was incredible too. As a defender, he was insane. So, his anticipatory skills was incredible. So I don't think that you could ever. I mean, especially just on both ends of the floor. Defensively, it's not even close. And offensively, like you said, Dwayne Wade in his prime was absolutely incredible. And that's by the way, after him tearing up his knee too in college. He might have actually been more of a freak because that's at that point in time, surgeries, he was basically a butcher job compared to what it is now.
Yeah, I mean, James Harden's not him. He's not Clyde Drexler. I mean, let's not get crazy here. I mean, it's not even close. Clyde Drexler could do things.
Yeah.
Clyde Drexler wasn't a gagger. This guy, no way, dude. No way. I mean, good.
I mean, even a guy like Prime Ray Allen at shooting guard, I think I would take over.
I'd rather have Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson can defend.
Right.
Klay Thompson's a two-way player. I'd rather have Kawhi Leonard if you want to consider him a 2 or a 3.
People get too much caught up in one-on-one play. It's 5-on-5 the game.
And,
5-on-5.
And in a playoff, that doesn't work.
Right.
I'm going to find a way to shut your water off. I'm
Yeah,
going to do it. I'm going to stunt and recover. I'm going to make you pass. Look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan even had games where he had to volume shoot, and there's nobody as explosive as him. Even Kareem had games where he volume shot. Those are 2 of the best scorers ever lived. Now, so there's ways to shut the water off if you have a week to do it. This is, like I said, this is not a regular night when I get in on a Tuesday night and I'm playing on Wednesday afternoon.
Right, I get 4 games where I get the game plan for you.
Yeah,
in a 7-game series. Yeah, I agree with you.
Not the same.
And I think at this point now, the only way he could win is if he would just completely change his stripes, and there's no way he's doing that at this stage of his career. I just don't see him doing that.
Yeah.
But he'll always be remembered, I think, as one of the all-time greats, but just was never able to, and even more so than like Charles Barkley. I think it's his style of play and his attitude on top of that, I think, is going to maybe knock him down, I think, a couple spots maybe on this all-time list, because he was a part of that top 75 all-time team that got voted at home.
Like I said, I'd rather have Clay. There's a lot of 2 guards I'd rather have.
If you consider Paul Pierce a 2 as well.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Dumars can play both ends. I know he's not going to score like James. I'll take Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars can handle the rock. He can also play point. He can play 2. I mean, like
James Harden, he's a 2 guy, but he's a ball dominant 2. He's not a catch and shoot. I want my 2.
So then you took a ball dominant 2 and put him at the 1.
Right.
So what do you think was going to happen? He had so many turnovers this series. Ridiculous.
That's the thing. He doesn't run pin downs like Klay Thompson or Steph Curry. Or
he doesn't even get you into your offense.
Right. He dribbles the ball between his legs and crossovers for about 8 or 9 seconds to size up a guy. And it looks nice when it's the step back. But
so you basically thought, as a Cleveland Cavalier GM, that you thought you could have no point guard on your roster. Basically, that's what you.
Yeah, that's essentially they thought that spot.
So basically, you thought you have two guards and you'd win an NBA championship. Come on, dude. Who the hell's the GM? Stevie Wonder?
Like you said, it ain't 2K basketball where I control how the guy plays.
Exactly. It's not Stevie Wonder for Christ. Who's the GM? It was just these. I can tell you, I've never seen a year with worse GMing and better GMing in other places in my life. I've never seen anything like it.
I will say, I think Coach Atkinson better count his blessings because he definitely could have been let go after this
Well,
debacle.
the comment that I had a great roster, I think, saved him. But the bottom line is, you can't tell me he's having any fun.
I mean, because game 3 and game 4, they totally get annihilated too. Like I
you're
said,
sitting there with your arms folded the whole series. Did you get to coach? Are you allowed to coach those guys?
Right.
Maybe you're not allowed to coach. Like, are you having any fun? I don't care how much they're paying you. I'd rather take the money and go home and go on the beach.
He probably had more fun as an assistant on Golden State, I would say.
Yeah, because those guys are coachable.
Yeah.
Golden State, you can coach.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm Kenny, go take a college job. He'd be the man on a college campus.
Right.
I would love to see him take a college job.
Maybe one day, but next year we'll see him on the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Guarantee if they don't get off to a good start.
Yeah, if it's one of those things, right, where they start out like 8-10, I could see him definitely getting whacked.
Yeah, it'd be the first hot seat guy.
Right. Yep. Also, we thought we'd wrap up, Uncle Dave. Jason Kidd getting moved on from by the Mavericks.
Oh my
make
God.
Of this move here.
What awful move. Kyrie Irving, one of the few players he probably respects is Jason Kidd. Now he's gone. So
Masai Ujiri, I will say, Uncle Dave, in his defense, he was executive of the year in 2013, and he was a part of that 2019 Toronto Raptor team. So I guess they gave him the keys to the kingdom completely. So you have to trust him because he has had success. But it is a huge gamble because Jason Kidd.
But who are you hiring?
Great who are you hiring? Well, that's the thing. He's a great basketball mind. Who are we going to find to replace him?
Yeah, now remember, it's one thing to want who you hire, but who you have on your roster. Like, who's Kyrie listening to?
Mm-hmm.
This is not a guy who listens to too many people.
It's a great question, right? Honestly.
So this is like, if you hire a rookie coach, he's getting swallowed by Kyrie.
Yeah.
So he will just be like, nah, we ain't doing that. If you try to bring in some young guy who says, I got Lively, I got Gabbard, I got Washington, I got Cooper Flag, and I'm going to make it Cooper's team, Kyrie's not going to do that.
Well, I said a guy like who's been in the talks is Sean Sweeney, who was an assistant for Jason Kidd, who is he's an assistant for the Spurs now.
No. This is a guy who couldn't figure out that is one of the assistants that couldn't figure out for a 7-minute period when the tallest guy on the floor was the second J-Dub and we didn't post up Wemby, a part of that staff. Like, they're giving this guy, did you hear this stuff? They're talking about this guy as like a defensive mind. Do you realize who he has in the paint there?
Yeah.
He's going to have the guy who breaks the record for shot blocks and defensive player
his first 3 seasons.
Yeah, in the first 5 years in the league. So please don't tell me that you think this guy's a defensive whiz when he had Castle, who's one of the best defenders ever I've seen on the ball. He can just totally mug you. There's nothing you can do about it. Fox, who was a really good defender. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Now this guy gets all that credit. So this guy thought of some new shit on defense from the NBA over the peach basket in the last 100 years. Give me a goddamn break. I mean, He's got freaking Wemby sitting in the hole. Anything that goes in there gets erased.
And I know he's a young player, so he'll be able to adapt quickly. But also, you had a guy like Cooper Flag had a fantastic rookie season. Now he has to get used to a whole new coach and a whole new system then next season.
Well, now Jason Kidd also let him, initiate the offense a lot, which I don't think is good for the long term.
But it probably was a good long-term play, though, because it gives you a unique perspective, though, when you have to run the show and you have to be the ball handler. So I think it might have been a situation where he did that for that reason.
Yeah, but you don't want him bringing the ball up the court either, because if you pick him up full, he's got that high dribble because he is.
Well, I remember game 1, you saw like someone like Castle getting his shit, and it was a totally different feel than when
of course, because it's just hard to get. Ask Magic Johnson about when Bogues would cover him. Can't get the ball up the court; he's too low. So it's just like, why are you getting rid of Jason Kidd? And I hope Jason Kidd gets another gig.
That Orlando job, I think, would be absolutely perfect for him.
Billy Donovan is rumored for that, but he already screwed Orlando once, so we'll see.
Folks, don't feel bad for him. He's guaranteed $40 million, and he played.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for him.
Yeah, we don't feel bad for Jason.
But Jason already didn't need the money, so I kind of do feel a little bad for him. But I would like to see him.
No, but I do like him in the game as a coach because I do think he is great. So we'll see. Hopefully,
if you want to go bring in Dallas like Nate McMillan or somebody like that.
Yeah, then I'll talk or Scott Brooks, someone like that.
Yeah, then I'll listen to you. But like, if you're not going to bring in someone who's a veteran, this Kyrie's going to eat him.
Right.
Unless you're thinking about moving Kyrie, I'll tell you what. Right. I think the Wizards are dumb enough where you could shop and get that first pick from them for the right player. Like if I'm the Bucks, I offer Giannis for this kid. I don't know how you work that out, but you got to do it.
Yeah, the draft.
Or you offer Kyrie for this guy because the Wizards are dumb enough to think that they can win now.
Well, they're desperate to win now too, I think, as well.
Yeah, but they're not gonna. You still got again. Davis is a walking injury, and you got a point guard who
Trae
still
Young
weighs about 6 pounds and hasn't lifted a weight yet.
Yeah, Trae
So
Young.
bottom line is, whose best days are behind him, and he's a volume shooter. So they think they're gonna win now, but you're not.
Right.
So like, go sucker them. Call them on the phone and offer Kyrie for the first pick.
Yeah, and yeah. Well, I think what happens on draft night and free agency, I mean, it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see. And then you can see how these rosters are going to be shaped.
The draft is like 3 days before free agency starts. It's going to be fascinating. But I'm telling you, I think Washington's itching to get rid of that damn thing. I'm telling you.
Well, I think they know Utah really wants it, so they can. And Utah has plenty to offer, so they might be able to do that.
Sure.
So you have good young players there. You have a Jackson or a Lauri Markkanen or George. You have a couple guys there that you can offer that you could maybe get that pick for. It depends how much they love the Bansta, and it depends what happens in these workouts with these teams.
You could be the Wizards, and you could say, yeah, talent-wise with Davis and Young, they got some players, but Davis is, always hurt, and Young's a head case. Like, this is what you want?
Yeah.
Or if you're Memphis, I would go offer the freaking, go try to get, take the nut job off my hands and give me the number 1 pick.
Morant. Well, you could swindle someone for him, or like with the Pelicans with Zion Williamson. There's a couple.
Oh yeah, that's a sucker one every minute.
They're in positions where you have a valuable asset that you could maybe swindle someone out of and get a lot in return. And
there are suckers born every minute.
Yep. We shall see. All right, folks. Live long and prosper. May the force be with you. Until next time.